So welcome to the Mama's Den. And it's also the Grandmama's Den.
The Grandmama's Den.
We went from 3 to
Oh, you went from 3 to 6 in 1 week. Yeah, you're right.
3 to 6 in 1 week?
Yeah, so my sister had, at that time, she had a 10 and 11-year-old or 9 and 10 in 2018. And at 40, she had a baby the same week as the twins were born.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. God, Ashley.
You know what, Ashley? I'm gonna need you to start taking omega-3.
Ginkgoba.
100%.
Something, yeah. I know you're talking about.
100%.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's really fun not remembering shit. It's like finding it out for the first time again.
Oh, you're
That reminds me, by the way.
Girl, that reminds me. What's that movie with
The Dory.
Adam Sandler
Oh.
and she just keeps
And
remembering
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Dory.
Yeah.
So here in the Mama's Den today, we have my mother. This is Codie. My mother, Renee, a.k.a. Sugar, to the grandkids.
Your grandkids call you sugar? That's a flex. It's a heavy flex. I love that.
That's really cute.
The reason it was hilarious to me, though, is that she calls everybody else Sugar. Like, so I'm like, how you going to tell them to call you Sugar? So they'll be like, hey, Sugar. She'll be like, hey, Sugar, baby.
She's just adding more
So it's
sweetness
just
into the
sugar
world.
Back and forth.
I love it.
I love
Wait,
this.
did you not want them to call you grandma?
Yes.
Says every fly grandma.
Why? I always want to know why.
Do you want to be called Grandma?
I was just about to say.
Well, I feel like my grandkids are going to call me Abuela just because that's what we call my mom. And then my grandmother was Nan. I don't know. There's no grandma in my family line. Like, no one was ever called grandmother.
I think I want my children's children to call me Mama.
Mom?
Like Big Mama's house, Mama.
Girl, you ain't nobody's mama.
Mama.
Stop.
Yeah, but it's like,
Big
you know,
Mama.
like a.
You want this.
You're not about to call me Grandma.
No, but they could call you like something cute. You are not a mall, like mama, like mall.
Mama.
No.
Mama.
What about
No,
you,
Mama.
Melanie?
Mom.
Do you have a grandmother name or an auntie name that's not your own? She's like, Melanie.
No, I mean, when my niece was small, she couldn't say auntie, so she just called me Didi.
Aww.
But she outgrew that, and I'm Auntie Melanie.
Wait, what about in your culture? Like in Chia's family, you say tata for like grandfather, so they don't like it's obviously in their language. So is there like a
No, so it's crazy
Ghanaian saying or something?
Guyanese.
Oh, girl,
Not Ghana.
give me-
Ghana and Guyana are two
You
different
better
places.
get me together.
Honestly,
it's not your fault. You grew up in America. It's okay.
You are not from Africa. Well, you are, but you're not.
Oh my God.
Wait, I
You were
didn't even
Guyanese.
realize what you said until she corrected
I
me.
didn't either.
Oh,
Guyanese.
Lord.
I didn't
so,
either.
honestly, my family has been a little bit different. So my dad's mom, we used to call Mama Lo. That was her name, Mama Lo.
Wait, where does that come from?
Or
Is that-
Granny. I don't even know. That's how I always knew her. Mama Lo or Granny. Those
Yeah.
were the two names that we called
Granny.
her. Granny. And then my dad's dad was Papa.
Okay.
And then my mom's mom was Gran. We
Yep.
just used to call her
Yeah.
Gran.
We had a grand.
And
Okay.
then I never knew my mom's dad. So, I mean, I know him. I just never called him my name. His name's Sissel for all I care. But anyways, all respect. But my mom is Gaga and my dad is
Gaga.
Granddad. And Jared's parents are Nana and Papa.
Oh.
So wait, where did Gaga come from?
My son, Cameron, he just started calling her Gaga because he couldn't say grandma.
But she had grandkids before him.
Mm-hmm.
They say grandma.
They call
her Gaga now?
So my 3 nieces call her grandma or grandma. It sounds more like grandma.
grandma?
And Cameron is the only one that calls her Gaga.
Oh.
And Kaya will call her Gaga now.
See, my who is it? Amira is what changed it. So my niece and nephew call my mom Abuela. They said that Abuela, the whole thing. And Amira will call her Lela. So now everybody calls her Lela. No one.
Why? She couldn't
because
say it?
I don't know. She just never said Abuela. She just said Lela.
Yeah.
So now everybody calls her Lela.
So my nephews, who are now 13 and 14. Oh God. Oh, aggressive. Yeah, I know.
Grown nephews.
I have grown. I'm in shock too, to be honest.
They're
with
whole
you.
teenagers.
I feel like I just met your whole family.
Teenagers. So Caleb, the oldest, was born in
Sound
08 and Gavin in 09. So they're a year apart. And then my sister had a baby 10 years later. But there was a period of time they were staying with my mom in Dallas, in Fort Worth. And my mom was a traveler. So she was like leaving all the time. And so they started calling her Shube which was essentially short for Sugar Be Back. That was them saying Sugar Be Back because she was always leaving. So it became Shoebe. Do they still call you Shoebe?
They still call me Shoebe.
Oh,
That is
goodness,
so
I love this.
Hilarious.
Shoebe.
The kids call my mom. Peace just started saying that one day. And then their father's mother, they call her Gia. But she, oh my gosh, she had this whole thing like, I want them to call me Grandma.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My best friend.
I've heard that one before.
But my niece calls Cairo and Madden call their grandmother Gran.
Aw.
And then Gaga, I've heard Gaga before.
Yeah.
But I called, growing up, we always called my grandmother Grammy.
Grammy.
Like, I don't know if
Grammy's
it's like
cute.
Yeah.
I like Grammy.
Do you know
I feel
why?
like
Like where it came from?
because my dad's mom was like, don't call me grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grammy.
It's so
Grammy
funny.
is
Like,
cute.
how is it
Yeah.
aunt and uncle or just aunt and uncle? But grandmamas and granddaddies have all these names.
I
They
don't
like,
know.
yeah, don't.
Yeah, the
They like,
kids
don't
call
keep
my
aunties.
dad Pawpaw.
Yeah, that's true.
I love Papa.
They call him Pawpaw.
Paul.
But
Yeah.
also the kids call Chia Baba or Dad.
So Baba
But
is
that's like a very Asian.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Middle
what
East thing.
African,
the Shahidis call their
Asian?
dad?
I think
Baba?
so, yeah. But
Yeah.
their dad
That's
is a Middle Eastern. I
Yeah.
think.
yeah. Baba is
He's Iranian.
That's cool.
It's
Right.
cultural.
Like that.
But that's what I was trying to figure out. He's Iranian, but Chia, like, where did that come from?
But this is a big thing, like in Asian culture.
Oh.
Baba, or like in Islam, people
Yeah.
say Baba a lot. They
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
say like that's a Muslim thing too.
Yeah.
African
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, a lot of Africans say Baba too.
Yeah.
What
Well-
about, are there different names for like auntie?
And obviously Tia, Tio,
Yeah.
and our like in
Right,
our
but that's
culture.
literal Spanish. Right?
Yeah, but in my family, that
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
common thing to just say Tio or Tia, not
Yeah.
even their name.
What would you say, Mel?
Auntie.
Yeah,
It's-
we would always
Wait,
say
I actually
Annie.
really don't say
You
auntie.
say aunt?
I
No,
say
we
auntie.
would say Annie.
I say auntie.
Girl, that is country.
Girl.
Annie.
Yeah, they're from New Orleans.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I know like in Chia's family, it's they don't we say what is it? A lot of black people say auntie and they say auntie.
I say aunt. Our family says
Auntie.
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 Wait, I've never.
I'm anti
I
now.
have Googled this. Like, I cannot understand the origin, like between like aunt and
Mhm.
aunt. Like,
Mm.
it's not
the same.
regional. It's not. Yeah, they're spelled the same. Like,
How do you
some
spell
people?
aunt?
Some people are like it's bougie to say aunt. You know, like, but there's no. I've never
Oh.
found like the through line.
Me neither.
But my people are aunt.
Yeah.
I'm auntie.
I say we used
I
to
say
say
auntie, ma'am.
sister. You know, I grew up real pro black, y'all. We be like Sister Carol, Sister Kim,
Oh,
sister
snaps.
or brother so and so. This
Yeah.
is brother so
Oh
and so.
wait, not your literal aunts and
Yeah,
uncles.
even if they're right, I'll call them sister this, sister that, brother this, brother that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we was real black.
That's hilarious.
Yes, my brother.
Yes, my brother. Assalamu
Yeah.
alaikum, my brother.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
When I would
My
pick
brother.
up my sage and stuff, it was from a family like that. And anytime they would like, Sister Latour,
Yep.
sister, like every single time.
Mhm.
I love this.
I love it too.
I just like I'm in a different
Imagine a
little
bunch
world.
of black people playing. How you doing, my sister?
I
My
love that.
brother.
I
I
love
love
that.
that for us. Yes.
Jared actually calls any black man that he's like in passing. He'll be like, "What's up, brother?"
Yeah,
Like, all the
absolutely.
time.
I
Yeah.
love that though. I
I feel
think
like you're
it's
supposed to
cute.
do that.
Yeah,
It's
it's better than
a,
better than an alternative.
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
Mhm.
There's a time and place.
Takes it off the mic.
Oh my god.
That's because he probably heard it from his dad or his dad's
Mhm.
contemporaries,
Mhm.
brother. Because that's what I heard when I was
yeah.
your age.
But you know what I
Brother,
think that,
it was cool, you
I
know.
But I feel like it is a term of endearment to somebody that you
Oh, yeah,
wouldn't
for
know. I
sure.
think it
Yeah,
for sure.
immediately connects you.
Absolutely.
You know
Yeah.
what's
You can
funny
refer to somebody.
is that like I don't manage Black Love social media account, but like I'm on it. Like I write stuff a lot, and sometimes I want to like my brain says that about certain people, like
Mhm.
Brother Kariga, like.
yeah,
But
he's
it's so
definitely
weird.
brother Kariga.
But it's so weird to write it.
But
like-
is it though?
Yeah.
Kariga is brother Kariga.
He
I feel like he
is.
can't be called anything else. He exemplifies
Pastor
brother,
Kariga.
yeah,
Right,
Pastor
right.
brother Kariga.
It's just a funny
Yeah.
thing. It's like trying to write a social media caption.
Can y'all call me Sister Ashley?
Yes, we'll start
Sister
putting
Ash.
that.
My
We'll start
homeboy,
putting that in
my
all
homeboy in the
captions.
Jeep calls me Sister Soldier.
Sister
That
Mary
sounds about
Clarence.
right.
Yeah.
Mary
He
Clarence.
calls me Sister Soldier. He be like, "What you doing, Sister Soldier?
Yeah.
Learn the revolution."
Well, some people like to just give people nicknames, period.
Yeah,
You know,
That's true.
true.
never call you by your real name.
Wait, does Codie have a nickname?
Mm.
Oh, Codie B.
Codie
B.
What Uncle Roy says.
Well, everybody was B in the family.
Really?
And Renee
Yeah, that's
B.
true.
Renee
Codie
B.
Yeah.
Codie B. Her daddy was Jackie B.
Codie B.
Yeah.
Was that her nickname for her when she was growing up? As a
I
child?
call her Codie E. Codie B.
Yes, she does.
Did you ever have
No,
like, a
she
pet
calls me
name?
Lee. I mean Cody.
Oh, yeah, that's her name.
Did you ever have like a pet name for her? Like a
Bear or
Oh no,
Muffin.
Codie.
I think that's something we do now.
Codie, Lee, and they understood what I was saying.
Yes, girl.
Did you have a pet name at all?
Bear.
Bear.
Yeah. It's same thing as this.
my mom calls me Addie Mae.
Ooh,
To this day.
Addie
Why?
Mae to this day?
I don't.
Not
What
I don't
animal is that?
know. Not I don't know.
Why does my mom call me Addie Mae? She said that it's so horrible. She was just like, I was her only dark child. And I came out and she was like, you just look like a little old country, chocolatey little Addie Mae. And she calls me Addie Mayfield. I have no idea
Addie
why.
Mayfield.
To this day, she'll sign my cards and they say, I love you, Addie Mae, on them.
Aww.
Actually,
That is very cute
I
though, since
actually
it's like
love
from
it.
birth.
But my brothers call me, and Chia doesn't call me Ashley. He calls me by my middle name. He calls me
He does call
Sarah.
you
Yeah,
Sarah.
he
He does not. He never calls me Ashley. And my brothers call me that too. So really, like y'all, I really actually prefer to be called Sarah. It's just like my name. That's just what
Is that what Nalo calls you?
She don't call me anything.
Does she call you Ashley?
No, B calls me
Belisa
Ashley.
got her own name for you.
Yeah, actually, Nala calls me Ash a lot.
My nickname growing up, or my pet name for my parents was Baby Doll.
Really?
Aw.
Oh, you look like a little
I
baby.
never-
I was Baby Doll, and the reason why Baby Doll came about was because I didn't have a name for a week when I was
Oh,
born.
that's
yeah,
My parents thought I was going to be a boy, so they had me as baby girl Hallam in the nursery, whatever.
Mhm.
And I didn't have a name for a week, so Baby Doll became my nickname. And fun fact, my dad calls me Melanie and not Melanie because he's very Guyanese.
Wait, say it again.
Melanie.
Melanie.
Yeah, Melanie. Melanie.
He knows about the A.
Oh, he knows about the A.
He
He
knows
just
about the
refuses. My dad also pronounces the word brown brung.
What?
Uh-huh.
What color is brung?
Bro.
My dad
Yeah,
also
that
adds a
sounds
G into platignum.
Oh my God.
Yeah, God bless my dad. My dad is the most educated
I love
Guyanese
him.
man. I love his accent. My dad is just so.
Your daddy fine
He
too,
calls-
girl.
He's fine. He calls my cousin Alicia just because Alicia.
Do his own thing.
Yeah, he's just doing his own
But you
thing.
know,
I think-
saying it with an accent is different.
yeah, he calls
Yeah.
her
Even like-
Alicia. I'm Melanie. Platinum. I'm wrong.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because apparently we're all saying Rihanna wrong. You know what I mean?
Rihanna.
So like,
Well, Raven Simone.
Raymond Simonier. Okay,
She said
Simonier.
that her last name is not Simone, it's Simonier.
oh
Simone,
wow,
yeah.
she let that go on too long.
She said she did. They told her as a child to just tell people it was Simone.
oh
That's a lot
wow.
of people in a what is it? Music industry,
yeah.
entertainment. Their names were changed.
true.
Especially a lot of Latina people pronounce their
Wow.
name differently, or like, girl, everybody saying their name wrong. Chia lets people call him Che, and that grinds my gears.
Well, his name isn't
Because they think of Che Guevara, CHE, and I think it throws them, and they're just like, "Oh, Che," and I'm like, "That's
the
not."
last name.
Girl, I'll be correcting people. He will not correct anybody. He will just let them carry on calling him the wrong name, and I'm like, "That is not your name." I'll be like, "You mean Chia?" Oh, Chia, yeah.
Yo, have you guys ever seen the Key and Peele sketch with
All of them.
Aaron?
Yes,
No.
absolutely.
Oh
Oh my God,
It's
of
now in a
course.
commercial.
Yep.
This is one of the funniest things. Just the funniest
Aaron.
Aaron.
Where he's like mispronouncing everybody's name, but
Oh,
that's like the
I
most
did
memorable
see
one.
that. Yes. Okay.
Aaron.
The Aaron
Aaron.
throws me every
Oh my
time with the two
gosh.
A's.
For the record,
Yes.
Sugar Renee, Mama Renee
Yes.
is a Capricorn as well.
That part.
Yes.
That part.
Toot.
A little Capricorn.
I mean, what
You
does
have a
that even
Capricorn?
mean?
I feel
Yeah.
like you're drawn to
Capricorns-
me because I remind you of your mother.
We have
There's
a
three of us here, right?
No,
Capricorn.
just
Just
two.
two?
Just two.
But they got Capricorn babies. Don't y'all?
No, we have
two
Sagittarius
Scorpios.
babies.
Oh, Sagittarius babies.
We've got Scorpios, we've got Capricorns,
Alicia and
lonesome
Codie Scorpio.
Cancer, and Crystal is a Pisces.
But I'm a Pisces moon, so I think I'm very connected to
Lots of
Got
water.
a lot of
Crystal.
water in
lot
here.
of water. But there is a natural compatibility between Capricorns and Scorpios.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
That's why you love
Was
me.
that the case for you guys growing up? Were you
Oh,
guys very
yes.
compatible?
What
Did
was
you
your
guys-
dynamic?
Yeah, what was your dynamic?
Share.
What with
Yeah,
me,
with
Codie?
Codie.
With your daughter.
We're just alike. She's always been like me.
Huh.
What are
You
these
know, I've
faces
always
that
thought
you're
of-
I'm
making?
listening to her opinions.
You agree?
Like alike in which ways?
Well, we like think alike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she reminds me of the way I was when I was a kid. You know, you never accept things as they are necessarily. Codie is always, she would always, try to push the
Boundaries.
envelope.
Okay.
I mean, she was always out there, trying to do different things, not, afraid. Codie was never afraid.
Aww.
I'm trying to think of when you were afraid.
Do you feel though?
Came in my older years.
Do you feel, Codie, that is a reflection of your natural spirit, or do you feel like your mom has played a big part in helping you not have that fear?
I got to think about that one because I feel like yes, I feel like it's probably natural. I feel like it's probably natural. Yes, I feel like it's probably natural, but comes like directly from her and probably from my dad too.
Yeah.
Like I love to tell the story. I mean, not that I know it, you probably tell it better, of my dad. Like he had an afro at his graduation and they weren't going to let him walk. And
they weren't going to let him go to the prom.
Oh, shoot.
For an afro?
Because he had an afro. And his dad said, well, I can't use all them words. Use them. No, I'm kidding. His dad said, oh, you going to the prom. And oh yeah, you going to the prom.
And he went up to the school.
He not only did he go to the school, he went to the school board meeting.
Oh wow!
And took the local press with him. It was on TV.
No, that's right.
This boy is going to the prom looking just like he looks now.
I know that's right.
So that's
where you have to understand her grandfather was a Black Panther
activist.
Yeah, he was a Black Panther.
Okay,
and so also a physician, but he was a Black Panther. So he didn't really fear too many folks.
Yeah.
And can I say this? He used to say, y'all can lap my balls for all I care.
Oh, that's right. Say it with your chest and your balls.
Wait, so I have a question. So because you two are similar, for me, I have a daughter who's very similar to me. Shout out to AZ. And sometime, yeah, she's a Virgo. Lord God, we are very much the same person. So as a mother, sometimes when I'm raising her, I feel happy because I see things about myself that I know are like, oh, that's good. Those are good traits. But I find it really hard to raise her because she's such a strong person at such a young age that often I'm like, I feel like I'm taking a backseat to her a little bit because she's just such a strong-willed person. And like, I don't want to change that about her, but equally like teaching her to have respect. So with Codie, like, the things that you felt similar, did you feel like that made you clash growing up or did it make you more connected?
Oh, we didn't clash. Really? Like she used to say, well, my sister did everything wrong. So I learned a lot from her.
Shout out to your sister.
I look back at Crystal because she's heard me talk about my life many times.
Say that. She would say, and so no, I didn't have problems.
Shout out
with
to
Codie.
Lee, love you.
Yeah. We do, absolutely.
Decisions were made.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely. She said, I knew how to act by then. Her sister's 6 years older than her.
You learn from examples. So
yes, like literally 5.5 years older. So I'm like seeing things and choices.
Mama
sense.
Renee, do you feel like you parented differently having children 6 years apart? Because
please answer that.
Oh yeah,
your
I
first
did.
child, it's harder, right? I
did.
feel like it's harder. You just don't know. And then by the second child, I can speak. My kids are 6 years apart.
Yeah,
and I feel like with the second one, I let her do way more things than I would let my son do.
Oh no, it wasn't that kind of thing. It was just a more settled environment. Because I was an attorney and I just finished law school
with my sister
and passed the bar, and I'm pregnant, and that was weird. Everybody else is like got lives, and here I am. I'm stuck in the house. I can't, I didn't like it, being pregnant that early. Yeah, different time.
But wait, I have a question.
The circumstances were different.
Of course, yeah. Because the word settled, I get it now. I get what your context was, but like, we're 5.5 years apart, and I feel like when, like, your relationship was in a different place when I came, or at least like a few years into me, and so settled is not how I would describe like our life. Not to say that like you guys didn't like provide and take care of us, but like when y'all got divorced, and it was like I feel like you were like growing up in ways and like becoming your own person. And my dad was doing the same thing. And my sister went to college and I was like trying to be a 11-year-old or whatever. And so
you were 13.
Well, I remember when y'all separated. Like whenever y'all got divorced was whatever that was. But I think I usually say 12. 12 was like, anyway. But like, so that's why settled kind of rubbed me. I was like, really? That's
because you were unsettled.
I was unsettled. In hindsight, I always look back at that as like a gift in a lot of ways because like I was seeing them become their own people and like getting to know them as like individuals. But I am curious because I think I did parenting for the culture and Sharice. I keep looking at Crystal because she's like everywhere. But Sharice had asked me about like how I was raised, and like I couldn't answer the question from the standpoint, not like anybody who knows me, I love my parents.
Yeah,
like I have no complaints. But I'm curious, like at that time where you are like a newly single woman, and he is too, and my sister's gone. What does raising me look like to you? Like, what were you trying to instill, or were you just trying to like survive and like what? What did that look like for you? The way her eyes went wide,
girl,
it did get big.
Do you remember?
Of course, I remember.
Because I don't have complaints. I'm just curious what it felt like from the other side.
Well, it was. I mean, yeah, it was different because we got married when we were 20. I was 23. He was 24.
That's young.
High pressure.
Mm-hmm.
He had just graduated from medical school at 24. And I was in law school. So that was high pressure.
Y'all was the Huxtables.
Right.
Well, that's what they used to call us.
Yeah.
At her school, the Huxtables. They did. But that was when she was really young, at the first school she went to. But, I was just always committed to creating the best environment that I could. But she used to tell her sister, when her sister came home for Thanksgiving after going to college, she said, "What you doing here? You gone. You're supposed to be gone. You're not supposed to come back."
Oh my God, Codie.
You wanted your house. You wanted the house all to yourself.
These are things I don't remember saying.
Yeah, she said that.
I bet your sister remembered.
And she's like, "What do you mean?" But, but the difference in age.
Yeah.
But as far as raising you, I did the best that I could. And I think your dad did as well. So under the circumstances.
How did you do it if you were then a newly single woman with a teenage daughter? Did you have help? Was it aunties? Was it grandmas? Like, did you have a nanny? What was your village? You were working, right?
Well,
you were an attorney.
Yeah. I had a very high pressured law practice with over, I averaged between 600 and 750 clients at all times.
Wow.
And a lot of people working for me and that sort of thing. And yes, there was always someone taking care of someone else helping out.
Right. Miss Pearl, shout out to Miss Pearl.
Shout out to Miss Pearl.
Your nanny?
She likes to say, "I'm the baby's nanny."
And so she would take
us up from school. Me.
Yeah, she would.
Well, I could drive.
Yeah, but there was always a nanny, even from day one when she was born.
Miss Wanda,
with Codie, with Lee as well. We always had, because we had a lot to do.
Yes,
and so
go ahead, Ashley. What's
I have a question.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to say this is telling me so much about you, and I am seeing a mirror of lives. You have a very high pressured career and you lean into having nannies. And might be why. I remember when we both had our babies around the same time, and you were getting you had the twins and you were getting a night nurse to help you or whatever.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about that. And I thought it was the weirdest shit ever that I've ever heard of in my life. And I was like, a little judgmental, to be honest. In my mind, I was like, who does that? Like, they're your kids. You know what I mean? But now I'm understanding that my mom was a single mom and she didn't have much help, right? So I feel like what you see is what's normal to you, right? Like, your mom utilized a nanny and had that help. Yeah. And I just saw struggle. So like struggle to me was like, oh, that's how you be a mom. Normal. You just struggle. Yeah. And now I'm seeing like you had that openness and willingness to have help because you had that growing up, and that's what's normal to you.
Yes.
Which makes sense though. But like now I'm seeing like your lives are very much mirrored in that way of like high pressure job, getting the help. You don't feel that way.
No.
You're making faces.
No. My face is like
Codie's eyebrows.
It's like hearing her describe it. No, I totally agree with you in terms of the job thing. I was like 600 clients.
That's a lot.
And then we've talked about like leadership, right? Like we've talked about having having a team, and our leadership styles are different. I've learned a lot about her in our conversations.
What are your leadership?
The stuff, no way, we'll go back to that because the stuff she done told me.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
The stuff she done told me is like, you can't even say half of this in 23. Okay. But I will say, let me go back to the nanny thing. Totally, like I always expected that if I was working full time, that I would have help, whether that's a babysitter or a nanny or whatever it's called, depending on depending on the structure. But I do want to go back to night nurses specifically, because that is something that I did not know about when I had Brooks. I did not know what that was. As Ashley knows, and I think Melanie, my friend Liz, and I had our oldest at the same time. Mm-hmm. And a day apart. We had them a day apart. Then we had the twins. We both had twins. But she had a night nurse with Easton.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, what? And also didn't tell me till afterward. And I was like,
she let you suffer in silence.
And so I have to shout out just like the knowledge that you gain from like different motherhood experiences. Yeah. Because I don't even know if, sure, in hindsight, like with Brooks, I'm like, heck yeah, I would have loved that. But with the twins, I was like, that's a no-brainer. I also worked 3 weeks in. I want to be very clear. Yes. I went back to work when I had the twins.
Girl, it don't matter if you didn't. You had to.
But I want you to know, for me, it's not as simple as, it's not just like, this is expected and necessary because this is what my family does. Like, that wasn't it at all. Okay. But figuring out like what structure needed to be implemented to do the things that had to be done.
Yeah.
We can have a whole nother episode about how I did not want to work 3 weeks after I had them twins.
You shouldn't have had to, but I get it. Yeah. But also, I'm just saying it in a positive way too, that I'm happy that you've had that experience, and I'm going to teach my daughters to get help, like deading that whole struggle with life thing about like just being open and understanding that like we should not be parenting in that experience anyways. Like we should all have night nurses. We should all have nannies. We should all have help. Because literally, like, how can you be up with your baby all night and then wake up and
do anything?
Do anything. Show up for work. Show up for your other kids. Like, it's hard. It's just not realistic. And people do it every day, and they're drained and stressed, and
that
it's not healthy.
And I think that has a lot to do with people having postpartum depression as well.
1,000%.
And I had postpartum depression with her sister, but not with her. Oh. But the people that we had, you mentioned, who was the village, so to speak.
Yes. Because the context, you're from Virginia. You had moved to Texas to marry my dad. So like not by the time I came, but you're in a new environment. All of these friendships and relationships are new.
I mean, I just left law school in Washington, D.C. at Georgetown and moved here. And I'm in his world. He even picked out the house without me even seeing it. Now, anyway,
let's not shame my daddy.
Trying to provide. FYI,
trying to provide.
My dad did the same thing. The day I was born, my dad left the hospital and came back and told my mom that he bought a house on my birthday. And my mom's like, "You don't buy a house without your spouse." And he was just like, "We have a growing family, and I bought us a house."
My sister's fiance did that too.
But with her dad, there was a big family, and so. There was a nanny when Lee came along, and she was someone who had gone to school with her dad, and her mom worked at the clinic where all the doctors work, where the doctor, the uncle, the granddad, and her dad worked.
My granddad and his brother, so my great uncle, started the Brooks Family Practice Clinic, and then my dad and my granddad ultimately ran it. Where did Uncle Donald go? Did he pass
Uncle
on?
Donald was a surgeon. He was the first Black board certified surgeon in the state of Texas. Anyway, they practiced for years and years, and then her dad came along and came into the practice as well.
I have a question about because I feel like our generation, we're very big on women going back to work and running our own stuff and being independent and just all woman empowerment. So since you were already doing that, did you experience mom guilt? And then also there's 2-part question. Did you experience mom guilt? But then also, how were you able to manage still spending quality time with the girls and working and managing all of these clients?
Well, those different times in your life, when, more pressure. I worked for the federal government for 10 years in Dallas, and I had to drive over there every day. So I had a little time to myself, which was great.
Yes.
To be in the car for 30 minutes, 45 minutes each way was really, my time. I didn't want it interrupted. And then they got them telephones, and next thing you know, I got a phone in the car. You can call me. I didn't want
good old days.
But
if you see me, you see me.
But with the practice,
Right.
it was extremely stressful.
Yeah.
And his practice was stressful. And that's a whole different story about how the patients, he insisted on having a public number so they could call the house.
Ooh.
And guess what? Who gonna answer the phone?
Right.
The lawyer gonna answer the phone.
I know, that's right, the lawyer.
Because he's like, I'm not answering the phone. I'm answering the phone, and I'm screening my clients. Hi, Attorney Brooks. All of
they
that.
share. In some cases, they shared clients. She was doing. Were you doing personal injury?
Personal injury and workers' comp and Social
That's
Security
hilarious.
disability cases. And these were the people calling, his patients. But yeah, he
Y'all
saw
needed a
a lot of.
assistant
He
at
saw
home.
60 patients a day, 2 nursing homes, and 1 hospital every day. That was his routine. Mine was all of these people, and all these people working for me. And that was the hardest thing, is dealing with the people working for me. But back to the children.
Mm-hmm.
I used to tell my staff when I go home, and I went home at 5 o'clock, 5:30, I'm home.
In the federal job and in your practice?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
5:30, I'm home. And I used to tell them I'm going home to my real job now.
Oh, that's what you said.
Girl, you're so spoiled. I can't take it.
What?
This is why I call you a princess.
This is the princess.
No, but
Renee
every time she says
Higginbotham
something about
Brooks.
you go.
And
I like
I was your
learning.
real job.
I like learning about her in this way.
her grandfather, her dad's father used to say, "That's a blessed child.
Aw.
Codie's a blessed child."
That's a blessing.
It will be amazing whatever she ends up doing in life, because she's had every opportunity. That's what he used to say.
Okay, wait.
Different
though.
generation.
What
Yeah.
was mom guilt a thing? People say that all the time now.
Mom guilt, absolutely.
Those
Because
words, like that's how y'all describe it in 19 whatever.
Mom
year.
guilt.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
You're
When
right.
did you feel that the most?
Yeah.
Like, was it when you were, like, when did you feel it the most throughout career?
A lot of times when I didn't go to her school for activities in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Now, I went to everything after work.
Yeah.
But during the middle of the day, I just didn't feel, and I'm working 30 minutes away, or, I'm in Dallas working. I couldn't go to the lunch, just go have lunch with her,
Right.
or go to some of the events, the weight program.
Renee,
You gotta
not
silence
your
your
phone
Mom.
ringing.
I'm sorry, that's Miss Pearl calling. That's
Miss
Pearl.
It's literally Miss Pearl.
Miss Pearl's
right
calling.
now.
She's been with us for 25 years. She also went to school with her daddy.
Yes,
Aw.
So it was like family raising family.
Yeah.
That's
The people that have been in the house was only 2 nannies, and they both were people that her dad knew all his life. And so we, it was like family.
Yeah, I told Erica never ever leave. We're gonna figure this out.
Oh, we love it.
It
Me
is
too.
true. When you find
But
it.
mom guilt,
Yep.
it's definitely, everybody had to suffer from that. If you didn't, something wrong with you in my mind.
Right. No, for real.
Because, I mean,
miss them
just not being able to be there. And it's important to go on those field trips with your kids. It's important to drop in at school and see your kids. And I didn't that was kind of a regret. I kind of felt guilty about not doing it, but her dad did. Her dad would
I
go
was
in the
going to
middle of
ask
the
you
day.
that.
What you
That was,
mean?
it was
Sorry, not my memory. What?
Your dad would come because he was
Man, you
off
don't
between
remember
2
anything.
and 4 every day. They took a break.
Okay.
And so he would come over
would show
there,
up.
or sometimes he would come at lunch. He would do that, but I didn't.
So we should do those things with our kids. They're gonna grow up and forget them anyway.
No, you should do it.
Ashley,
The one that don't got no kids
It's
in
for-
the regular.
Exactly.
I'm gonna stop homeschooling.
Your
them.
kids go to school at home.
And we took vacations. We took a lot of vacations.
did?
Yes, we did do that.
That I was going to piggyback off of B's question, because that was the question I was going to ask about the mom guilt. Like, in hindsight, when you look back at the way that you managed, how do you feel like you did? Like, do you feel like, yes, you did the best that you could, Because I think that this is something we all struggle with. We struggle with this like pull to be so present for our careers, which is like so important. But then you realize the days are long and the years are short. And you're like, ooh, if I could have just known how fast the time would have flown, I would have maybe chose this different, done this differently, acted this, like it's always a thing. And I think we're all in that stage right now where.
Hey, it's all a balance. You got to figure out a balance for yourself because you want to be the best parent that you can be.
But you see,
and that's more important.
That tells me, that's what I was going to say. That tells me what your priority was, is that you're like, whatever I'm doing to be the best parent I can be. And so obviously you did great because your kids are wonderful. They're healthy. They're thriving. They have wonderful families of their own. So it's a good thing.
And
right?
I didn't
but some people don't. Like some parents don't. Some parents are like, it's not about being a good parent. They're like, I'm trying to be the best lawyer I can be.
Yeah.
Like some parents do think that way.
I don't think I ever did.
I believe that your profession is not your purpose. I mean, I think that they can align.
Is not your purpose.
But I feel like, we were talking about the pressure to feel like you have to accomplish these things and what is my purpose? And it's like, if you died today, I'm not going to sit here and be like, Ashley was a wonderful caption influencer writer on Instagram. She did wonderful brand deals. She wrote a children's book. I'm going to say Ashley was an incredible wife. She's an incredible mother, an amazing friend. I remember the time she sent something to my house when I was ill to make me feel better. Like, I'm going to remember the character of somebody, and I think to bring it back to being like parents and mothers and daughters and children or whatever, I think that that's really important, that we as adults now as mothers remember to see our parents as people because we are now in those cases. And like, right now our kids just look at us like, oh, I'm just mom and dad. Yeah. But we are people. And I think that that's too important to be able to see that in your parents.
Yeah.
Do you guys teach your kids that? Or like, were you open with Codie about how you felt in situations meaning I know you obviously went through a divorce and all these different things. Like with my mom, she kind of would let me know that she was a person, and she would be like, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Yeah. This is overwhelming to me. And I do that with my kids. I'm like, that's too many questions. I'm only one person. I can't answer all of those. Like, I need a break. You know what I mean? Like, I let my kids know, like, I am a human being other than your mother. Did you do that with Codie, or was it like, did you shield her from your like real feelings?
Well, at certain times, I think I shielded her, depending on her age.
Right.
Yeah.
And at other times, I did open up to her about things. But I feel also like I was always there with her. I always felt like I was with her, even though I may not have been physically present, but I was always there with her. And she knew that if she needed me, I was going to be there.
Yeah.
That is really beautiful.
Yeah. It
really is. I can say that, like, my mom and I have a great relationship, but there are limitations to where those lines cross. Yeah. And it comes culturally because, like, culturally, our Caribbean background is very, like, it's old fashioned. It's a little old fashioned. So there's like a certain level of, respect or things you don't talk about with your parents or you bring to your parents, which I feel like evolved from in that way. But I definitely see it, like, even when we weren't recording, some of the things that we were talking about off microphone, how comfortable you guys are with that. Like, I don't necessarily have those certain liberties with my own mom, and we have a great relationship. Yeah. But it literally just comes from the boundary of, like, where my mom grew up, how she grew up, what she was allowed to talk about, not talk about, And I think that it's really wonderful. It's really wonderful that I feel like, even just when you're not here, Mama Renee, that Codie just speaks so confidently about the relationship you guys have. There's a deep friendship there, and I think that that's important.
Would you say that you guys are friends?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you say we're friends?
Put her on the spot.
I would say that. Of course I would say that.
I feel like that's when it starts to get fun.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up, me and my mom were always like battle. She's fire and I'm water, And then I think when I started to have children, really when I had my second child, is when my mom kind of like showed that she was human more. Before it was like, I'm the single mom of 3 kids and I have to be strong and tough and we don't cry, get up. And it's like, no, I need a second to cry.
Yeah.
And so I remember one time, I feel like this was like the pivotal moment. I was crying about something and she's just like, and this is in my adult life, and she's just like, just come on, like, you'll be fine. And I was like, Mom, I don't respond to that. Like, I respond to like, take a moment and just hear me out. And of course, give me a solution. But I need you to get to know me and how my emotions work.
Yeah.
And then I feel like when my mom started to see like, oh, my daughter that is also a woman.
Yeah.
She's not a little girl anymore. And everything she says is going the way that she is planning. I feel like that's when my mom started to realize, okay, now we can connect and be friends. But I feel like it definitely took time to like get there. And even to my mom, I'm like, it's okay that you smoked a little bit of weed, girl. Like, okay. You don't have to act like you've never done anything.
Yeah.
And I can't relate.
Okay, wait. Because listen, it is just because we already talked about this. Okay, if you listen to my new BFF, we know that my mother has experienced marijuana. Okay?
Experience.
Okay, I don't know the right words to be delicate, but the fact that she used to hide it was the funny part. Like long after we were fully aware and could tell her, sis, do not burn your house down trying to hide it. We literally can smell it. You do not need to put it under your bed. And
don't burn your house.
She would still do. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's hilarious.
The way my sister used to take it and use it.
Oh my God.
And be like, she's not going to say nothing because she thinks we don't know. Like she's not going to.
So that being the case, let me ask you from a mom's perspective, now that like everything's out in the open, what was your reasoning for not being like, okay, this is what we do. This is what I do. Why were you not wanting to tell your daughters? Was it judgment? Was it you wanted something to yourself? Like what?
Or you don't want them to copy you?
You don't want them to, like, what was it? Why didn't you want to admit in that time?
Because I am always setting an example.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I needed to set that type of example.
Yeah.
No.
I get it.
And once her sister, we were in Vegas and her sister, and I was with my girlfriend too. And so Lee was like, oh, okay, we looked at her.
Right.
No, honey, you cannot stay in this room and smoke any weed with us. Okay. You got to go.
So see that's what
like she was setting this boundary when we were fully aware. Like I remember how we got her to admit it or whatever. I was in college and my friends had like made brownies. My sister lived in DC at this point as well. And somebody had said something about it and my mom goes, well, that's a waste of weed. And everybody was like, like
an
that was like the big aha, see? Mm-hmm. We knew.
But you know, it's funny because again, even with that boundary, like I have friends and relatives who know that their parents smoke or they smoke, but they're like, oh, I could never smoke with my parents. Like it's like
so
no.
Even now it's still a no?
You would, right? I don't smoke weed.
She doesn't smoke.
But
what if she did?
I hope that's not.
I don't think. No, I think we might. You know, she's handing me a gummy now. You know.
Yeah, I feel like that is like I feel you. Even though it's like okay, we have a gummy or we have a drink. I'm like the actual act of doing it.
Like passing a blunt to your mom.
I feel weird.
Hit that, mom. Hit that.
Yeah,
hit that, mom.
No, that's funny because I actually shared on Instagram the other day or yesterday about how Amira is my friend, and I got like a lot of different like perspectives and feedback, but I am just like really of the school of like Amira is my child and she's my friend too. Yeah. And it's not in a way of like inappropriateness. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? For me, it's more like I feel like it was really hard for me and my mom to find our footing as adults because she was very clear that I was not her friend growing up. So I went inward a lot with my feelings and my emotions, and it became very unnatural for me to tell her what I was feeling because that was not like I could always talk to my mom. Do you know what I mean? Like she always had an open door policy, like whatever was going on with us. I remember my mom one time was like, I don't want you guys to have kids, but if you ever get pregnant, tell me. I don't want you to do anything behind my back. Like I'll go with you, whatever. But like she was always about like letting us know that she was a safe place to land. But it was still like clear that we weren't friends. Yep. So like I didn't look at her in that regard. But then I feel like when we got older, my mom wanted that relationship with us. And I was always like, no, like that is, I don't talk to you about that stuff. Like I'm not having that relationship with you. Yeah. And so now that I'm like well late in my 30s, like we're still, you know, we're trying to get there. But I don't want that with, and even my mom said the same thing to me. She was like, me and my mom didn't become friends until I was like 30. And I'm like, oh my God, it happened again with us. Yeah. Like, I don't want that for me and Amira. So me and Amira are very clear. Like we have a friendship. And when she crosses lines, she's going to learn the same way she will in a friendship. Like,
I'm your mama
absolutely.
first.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, not even that,
And
but
just
like, but it's not even
setting.
about being your mom, but like, if you did that to a friend, that's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
you talking to me crazy is not about me being your mother. It's about me being a person.
A person, yeah.
Like,
I don't care
that's
who it
what,
is.
yeah, because
Absolutely.
I feel like sometimes when you're like, I'm your mom and I'm your dad, and you need to do this because I'm your mom and your dad. It's not about that. It's I'm a person. And you should be respecting me because I'm another human being. And that's not how you treat people. More so like, because you can just say that and then your kids fear you and they don't really understand what respect means. So then it's like, okay, if you disrespect me, you lose access to me in that way. I'll feed you and clothe you and house you, but we're not going to stay up watching movies. I'm not taking you to go shopping. We're not kikiing. We're not having that bond because that's what people are going to take from you or like create boundaries with you. If you disrespect people in real life, your friends and relationships, you'll lose access to them in that way. So I know that everybody has a different parenting style, but for me, I feel like that really works with Amira because she understands like the joys and the benefits of any relationship come from respect. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. So I don't know. I feel like I'm a little different that way. I don't want to wait till she's 30 to become her friend.
I feel like I parent people like that too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I do too, in part because of how I experienced them. Like, I don't know that I would have if our relationship was different. I don't know how my sister looks at parenthood in that way. But like, I just feel like I got to see them as individual people very early in my life. And so I appreciate that. Like in hindsight, I'm like, that works for me.
Yeah, she had a personal relationship with her dad and a personal relationship with me. So she had to figure out how to relate to both of us on where we were in the space we were in at that point in our lives.
Right.
You know, and she was by herself. So it's not like she had the sister to influence the relationship. So it was really a one-on-one.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why she probably, you know, has a good relationship, has had and has a good relationship with me as well as she had with her father.
Yeah.
So I love hearing like just everybody's parenting, you know, because it's like you can see yourself in each thing. Because I feel like, so I'm a co-parent with my son and daughter. And to see my children with their father and their relationship, it's like they're in their own little world, but it's so beautiful. And then they come over here and we're in our own little world. It's the same thing, but it's still like separate, you know? So hearing this also makes me feel like, okay, this makes me happy because Peace and Zen have their relationship with daddy. And then they also have it with mommy. And it's an individual, I don't know. I feel like it's more like focused parenting per child and adult.
Yeah.
But I'd like
it. Does seem like
I'm
it
like
would
I'm
be
into
more
this.
special because they
can be.
Yeah, it
you know
can
what I
be.
mean?
Yeah.
Because at home, like they're having. It's harder to like separate that time when you live with your spouse. You're like, with me, if I try to do something with one, they're like, "Can I come too?" And then you can't create those like individual moments. But if you have to go to your dad's house, you have to go to it's automatically set in.
That's one thing that I struggle with now. I mean, hopefully we'll figure it out through this Mama's Den sisterhood situation. But like the one-on-one time with the kids, like they be so offended when I don't take everybody.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, don't say nothing.
Wait, I don't know if I told you this. Over Christmas, I took Langston to the flower shop. I was going to get flowers for the house. I don't know how I ended up not taking the other two. I think it was just like a fluke. I had to go and he was like downstairs with shoes on. So I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
The way this child was walking down the street, we weren't going far from parking to the door. Like, mommy has other children, but today it's just me.
Aww.
It's like the way he was just, and not really talking to anyone in particular, just walking down the street saying that.
Oh, he was saying
yes,
it.
out loud.
No, he was saying this
out loud. No, out his mouth. He was like, mommy has other kids, but today it's just me.
They get so excited about that.
Yeah. And it really, I was like, oh my God, I have to do this more.
Yeah.
But I definitely got my ass whooped when I got home.
Oh, I bet you did.
And Aristotle was like, why didn't you take me? I was like,
okay, I have another co-parenting question. When you and her father separated, did you feel like your parenting style changed because you're no longer doing with the same person in the same household? And then the second part of the question is, answer that part. Because I think
it's going to answer your second part.
Absolutely, it changed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like drastically?
Yes, it changed drastically because you didn't have two parents in the house.
Yeah.
And so it was me and the girls. And when they go over to see him, and stay over there for a while. And oh yeah, absolutely. The other thing is, I didn't have like custody. We didn't go through all that.
Yeah.
Even though my lawyers told me, oh no, you have to set boundaries and all this. We didn't.
Yeah.
We just said their residence was Tarrant County, Texas.
Yeah.
And we co-parented and we shared custody. So there was no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, none of that even. Mm-hmm. It was, what would y'all like to do? And we didn't compete. I was not going to compete.
Yeah.
And, the other thing is, I don't think in those kind of situations you should ever say anything negative about the other parent. I think that's the worst thing you can do. Please, anybody, don't do that. Don't put that in your child's mind. Anything negative about their other parent. It's too hurtful.
Yeah. And it's confusing. It'll confuse the kid too much.
It's very confusing. And, we're sitting here talking about all of this, but it all boils down to love. Always showing, demonstrating your love for your children and for others because they see, they see you and what you do.
That's true.
And they're gonna do what they see. They're gonna want to do exactly what they've seen you do. They want to be like you.
All of our sweet kids.
I know, but I really.
Well, I don't hit my kids, and my daughter slaps me in the face. So where'd she learn that?
She gets to pass. Leave my girl alone. Leave my baby
Little
alone.
terracotta.
She's gonna grow out of it.
Little terracotta.
Everybody has one. One.
Leave God.
You should ask her, what movie did you get that from?
She's a baby.
She's 1 year old.
Oh, she saw it on some
spirit.
screen somewhere.
No,
she's just learning to express herself, and you tell her, no, you can't smack
Baby, you have
me.
to express yourself a different way. We gonna learn one.
Listen,
We gonna learn one.
I'm literally trying it because this is
some other ways.
Listen, I'm trying. I'm just waiting for this communication stage.
Girl.
I think about it all the time because I do think about the ways in which the things I needed that I didn't necessarily get from the relationship I had with my parents for whatever reasons that there were. And I think about that with my children. And of course, you want to give your kids what you didn't have, right?
Yeah.
So I think about that when I see my daughter and she's just a year and the fire that she has already, like my mother-in-law is visiting right now. And she looked at me yesterday and she was just like, it's going to be a lot of testing of wills in this house. And I was like, you see it already. And she's like, I see it. And I'm like, okay, like trying to like find that thing for me right now. Again, after 6 years of between kids and my son being false advertising because he's an angel.
Right.
My son is like the salt of this earth. And then my daughter is like, and I, the gasoline.
I have a question. Because so you and your mom's relationship growing up when you were younger, like how would you describe it? Like you've described it over time, but just like a refresher.
So as a child, I worshipped my mother. Like I wanted to be just like her. I wanted to hang around with her. I copied everything that she did. I admired her. She was everything. I loved my mom, wanted to be around her all the time. And then I'd probably say as I got older and I started becoming a girl, personalities, things like that, my mom's reign got very tight on me. And I felt a lot of like restriction and judgment. And I felt like I wasn't encouraged to necessarily be free. And it's funny because I talked about this with my mom years later and she said something to me that I had never heard her say. She said, Melanie, and it's going to sound crazy, but she said, you had so much sauce. Like you had so much, you were such an attractive personality. People were always drawn to you. She's like that I had to rein you in. And that's a fine line, right? Because reining in can also be like suppressing the light.
Absolutely.
But it can also be like, I needed to, I was a
and like fear.
I needed to protect
you. She had to protect you.
And
I understand that 1,000%.
You know, but
I know you do.
Yeah,
but
I do.
But in certain regards, and Ashley and my mom love each other, by the way, because it's no nonsense. It's no nonsense with Donna. But you know, there were times in which I wish I was more encouraged to be free, because I felt like it would have helped me later in life.
Or you could have ended up in a ditch somewhere, child. You
I mean, listen, we don't know, but I'm just saying from my own.
Ashley gonna defend Donna the way I defend Chia.
From my own perspective. But to hear my mother say in those moments, she's like, I had to like I had, like, for example, my mom grew my hair down to the bottom of my ass my whole life, but would never let me wear my hair down.
Mm-hmm.
It was always in one braid. And when I think about the significance of this braid, this is exactly how I feel. It's like my mom is like, you have so much, but I have to keep it bound.
Yeah.
Right? And so when my mom actually said that she was able to verbalize that to me, I had so much more compassion.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, you were scared.
Yeah.
You were scared of like losing control of your daughter, you know? And like, again.
But also, how old was your mom when she got married?
She was 19.
That's why too.
She was 19 when she got married with my brother, and my brother and I are 7 years apart. I was like definitely a planned baby. Like her life was more settled. She was older. They wanted another child. They got pregnant on purpose with me.
Yeah.
No shade to my brother, but but you know, like that for me was, I think, too, also, but just culturally, I think I resented a lot of it growing up, because it came from this like sexist place. There's a difference between a boy child and a girl child, you know, from my mom, that Caribbean old school thing. So I think I resented that, because I was like, see me for me. Give me what I need as a person, you know? So,
but also she was just a young mom. And I think because she got married at 19, she probably didn't want you to. So she's probably like, let me reel her in, make her protected and safe, and her make different decisions than I make. Yeah.
But it still affected you.
1,000%.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that is because every time that you are describing your daughter, it reminds me of this story. It reminds me of yourself. And I am a big believer, I think we all are, is like your children are reflecting
100.
Either what we've been through, what, you know. And so I'm actually very much looking forward to your journey with Kaya, because I feel like you're going to heal so many parts of like your inner little girl through her. And every single time you describe her, it's like, it's fire, it's this. And I'm like, oh my God, my friend is describing herself over and over and over. So even, I mean, I know you're already doing it, but just even taking those moments of like, what does my daughter need right now?
Yes.
I don't want to like hold her back, but like, that's who she is. Like she's too young to be influenced by anything right now. Well, not too young,
really,
but like she is a baby.
This is
like she came out the womb.
It's her truth. This is why, like, you know, for me too, in that space, is that every time I ask myself, like, I didn't think I was going to have another kid. I say it all the time. Like, I was one and done. I had my son. I was like, yep, we out. Ashley, on the other hand, knew I was having another child. She put this on me. And I always thought if I were to have 2 children, I don't know why, I was just like, oh, I'm going to have boys. Like, I'm a boy mom. I'm not going to. So when I found out I was having a daughter, I was like, oh, get ready. Like, oh, get ready. Like, and I actually am looking forward to as challenging as it is already, because I see it in her. Like, I see her fire. But exactly to your point of what you're saying, like, every time I'm like, first of all, I call her Peppa Sauce. My mom told me the other day that my Auntie Joan, my dad's uncle, used to call me Pep as a baby. She used to call me Peppa, because she said I was spicy. And it's funny because I didn't remember that when I just started calling her Peppa Sauce.
You know
like,
what?
She's hot. She's spicy.
You're going to be a very good mom to her. Because you see her, you see yourself in that child.
You
really do.
I see it, and I speak to her with that. I do already. I speak to her all that already with that, because again, true, when you see too, I feel like a young girl with a very strong sense of who she is and what she wants. I do not want to break that in her, because I'm her mom. And you should just listen to me. That's
she's not going to let you do that.
That's like me.
She's not going to let you.
It's not going to work.
It's like me and Zara and you two. You and your mom, Codie. It's the same thing. It's when you see. That's why I asked her that. Like when you see yourself and your child, you're either going to lean into that, like let me protect my baby and make sure that she feels seen and loved because I see you, or you're triggered. And don't get me wrong, I'm triggered on some days.
We're still human.
She screamed at me for 30 minutes and I just kept my cool. I just kept stirring that rice behind me. I was like, yep. Because I was like, whoa, why? Why won't you just say please? Why won't you just say yes?
She's won.
No. See, this is the thing, is that it's the communication. That's why I'm like, this is temporary. She's a baby. But I'm really looking forward to be able to communicating with my daughter. Because that's actually
with you, all right.
If she right now it's physically communicating. But I really do. I see her mind. I see who she is. And I want to be able to talk with her through that. And so.
And you will.
Back to the point of like having moms and daughters here. It's so healing to see. Even though it's not my mom, like it's really beautiful.
I want to bring up when Codie was like 13. I had 10 years of terrible teens. Her sister was a teenager, and she went away at 18. And then here she comes at 13, another 5 years of the terrible teens.
Oh, ouch.
It's much worse than the terrible twos.
Yeah.
But she was not a problem. But one of the things that I did was to make sure that my home was a safe haven for her and her girlfriends.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would always be there. It was, I mean, I'd come home from work on Friday and it's two girls over there with they already there. Who invited
Who let you in?
What does your mama know you over here? But that's okay. Because I preferred that she be in the house with her girlfriends so that I know what they're doing and what they're about. And when I take them where they wanted to go.
Eavesdrop on them little conversations.
All of it.
That's my favorite. I'd be like, yeah, you can ride with me.
All of it. Oh, I'll take you.
Absolutely.
I'll take you. And I knew, I knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gave me I mean, some of it, I also knew y'all were doing some other stuff.
Eventually.
But at least I felt like I had an open door. I could see and rationalize in my mind what was going on and feel like I was a part of it. And, I didn't feel afraid or fearful about what they were doing because I saw it.
Right.
I was in the midst of it. I used to take her and her girlfriends on trips.
That's true.
We went
my goodness. We went to Miami 100 times. Where else did we go?
That is so cool.
Remember?
New Orleans.
And I'd take them and they'd have their own suite.
Oh,
yeah. And they had the little boy, the little guy friends. And then
Wait, how old were they, Mom?
Oh, they were in their teens.
Well, Stuart was probably the first guy friend. But like the way we are, like she's just like the mama. And so part of what she's talking about is conferences. Like she would go to the National Bar Association, which is for Black lawyers. And so my now friend Stuart, I met through that when I was 11. That's what I remember. We were 11, maybe 12, but I always say 11. I think
y'all were 12.
But ultimately, like he lived in Houston and I lived in Fort Worth. So like we went to the schools that played each other. So like we stayed in each other's, like that's my brother, like at this point. But like we were in each other's lives. Also because my mom cultivated this, like this is the house where everybody goes. So for Christmas, when he would visit his Fort Worth family, he would come over to our house. Like she's talking about Kimberly, who y'all met, and like all of these people. And then she had a place in Miami after a while, after the divorce. And so that was the spot. That's where we would go and like kick it.
That's dope. That's how I want peace to be. I tell all the time, I'm just letting you know, you and your homegirls can come over here. Because the same thing, I'm like, I want to know what y'all doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I just move and think differently. And
because if you don't know, then that's where fear comes from.
Yeah.
Not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing.
Yeah. And it requires an investment. It requires an investment in our time and energy toward our little people and their friends.
That part.
As soon as I was pregnant with the twins, my biggest thought was about how much food is going to be required to feed 3 boys and their friends.
That would have been my first thought too.
Right.
That was my immediate thought. Well, all of that said, thank you, Mommy.
This was great.
This was lovely.
I love it.
I feel seen.
I do. And I think we should do an episode with each one of our moms, even if it's not all like each individual.
I feel like that would be dope.
It would be really, really dope. This was really good.
Then we get them all in by themselves.
The mama's den and them.
We stand in the corner and watch.
I love it.
Well, maybe you could have all the moms.
That's what we want.
But then you all come after us and then you all give your opinions about the
We should do the follow-up. We should have the mama's den.
Yeah.
And then we should come back and then do the like it's like the what is it? The reunion show.
But wait, then we need an episode that's all of our like oldest children.
Amira asked me if she could come on the podcast.
Yes.
She's like, I feel like I need to come and talk about mother-daughter relationships.
She should.
I was like,
she is so funny.
Okay, girl.
I think that would be
I was like, what you gonna
great.
say? She was like, you'll find out when I get there. I was like, I'm done. You're not coming.
Dun dun dun.
I know, right?
All right. Well, thank
thank
y'all,
you.
mamas, for tuning in.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you for allowing me to be here today.
Oh, yay.
I enjoyed it.
Yay.
And that's the Mama's Den.